If you were Hubert Davis and you hadn't yet landed these big name targets you're after, how would you hit the reset button?
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Thursday, May 9th, 2024. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily National Tar Heels show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade, joined today, as we often are, usually always are, on Thursdays by our guy, Coach Rob. Bill Robinson, the head coach of the Milligan University men's basketball team. Go Buffs. You're joining us at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. Thanks so much for making us your first listen or watch. Special shout out to all you everydayers out there, and special shout out to all of the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord community who actually provided several of the pieces of content that we're talking about today on the show. So if you want to get in on that, come join us on the Discord. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. First off, I want to let you know that there are actually two shows airing today. This one, great conversation that we're having. And then also, I talked with Cameron Salerno, who writes for CBS Sports, who actually grew up in Sacramento, about 15 minutes away from Coleman Hawkins of Illinois, and so knows a good deal about him. So we just had some pretty insightful conversation, and so would love for you to check that out as well as this show. And here's what we're talking about here. Coach Rob, who has 2 decades worth of experience being at North Carolina summer basketball camp, being around the program, knowing what makes it tick, all of that kind of stuff. I want to ask him basically, like, if you were in Hubert Davis's shoes right now, where you kind of got to set the reset button a little bit, what would you do? Want to talk about that? Want to talk about the fit of some of the transfer portal targets that have the names that have kind of been floating around there a little bit the past 48 hours or so. And then at the end, Coach Rob and I got a little breath of fresh air for you, a little fun, talking about our 3 favorite fast food restaurants. Coach is going to fill us in on his Kentucky Derby experiences this past weekend. Saw a NFL future Hall of Fame quarterback while he was there, and amongst some other things. It'll be great. A lot of fun to talk about. So, Coach, here's where we're starting. The Tar Heels, outside of Cade Tyson, have not been able to get anybody yet in the transfer portal. There's names that they've been in on. There's names that, have been floated that maybe they weren't as in on. Regardless of what level of depth of relationship between Carolina and these targets, Cade Tyson's the only one they've landed so far. I think it's time to ask the question, if you are Hubert Davis, and Coach, you have all this cachet where we want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, how would you handle a reset of this nature?
Yeah, the first thing is you just don't panic. You don't want to go out there and settle. And that's I think when you get your staff together and you talk about things, you're not just looking for a spot to be filled. You're looking for the guy to fill the spot you're looking for. So I don't think there's any time to panic. We've had 2 kids this year that we lost out on, a point guard and a post, that we thought these are the guys we need, these are the guys we want. We didn't get either one of them. And then the guys we have are better now. The guys we're talking to, one's already verbally committed, the other one is making a decision here soon. So sometimes, you miss out on one that you really, really think you need, and then somehow the Lord brings you somebody better. And I really believe that. I think they just need to be don't panic, just be patient. It was August before you got Brady Manick, so, there's going to be somebody out there that will fill not just the spot, but fill the right guy for the role that they're looking for. So the first thing is just not to panic.
Man, that's really good. And I've tried to say that this week on the show, but I haven't said it as good as that, right? Like I've said, one of the things, Coach, that I'm trying to do is withhold judgment. It's easy to say, like, when you're focusing on this one kid, it's like, oh, that's the savior. That's the key. That's what unlocks it all. And then if you miss out on that, it's like, oh, goodness gracious. So it's easy to want to panic. But Coach, what I've been trying to encourage people is to not rush to judgment. I love what you're saying there. Not only don't panic, but don't settle. So
right.
beyond like that big picture umbrella that you just painted there, which is a great starting point, at a very nitty gritty level, what do you do?
I think you sit down with your staff and say, okay, let's go back through them. Let's go back through the guys that may have been our second, third, fourth choices, but let's go reevaluate and let's see if somebody new has appeared. Is there somebody who maybe declared for the draft and now getting back out? How has the portal changed? Even though nobody else has necessarily gone in fresh, you still got guys who may pull their names out of the NBA draft. Let's go back and revisit the list, because once you kind of focus on that one or two guys, you kind of forget that there's still movement. So you got to go back and see if there's any new movement. Got to see if there's anybody else new on the list. I don't think you reevaluate the type of style that you play. I don't think you adjust things quite yet. That may come down if it's July or August. But I think right now you're still fighting to stay with the philosophies that you have. You still need to get that big five, I think, if the right guy is out there. But if not, I had a really interesting conversation with Coach Williams one time. And it was about recruiting for a specific spot. And I said, I have one spot left on my roster. We really need we needed a 4. And but yet there wasn't the perfect 4 out there. What do you do? Do you take the spot, or do you take the best available? And he didn't hesitate. He basically said, you go out, you get the best talent you can, and then you'll figure it out. So I think that's still probably a month away. I still think they're trying to find that great 5. But if not, you get the best talent, and then they'll figure it out.
So right, if I'm understanding that order of operations correctly, Coach, you're saying right now, here as you and I record on May 8th, ahead of our May 9th show, you're saying right now you're still I'll say drafting, you're still recruiting to fit of a specific spot and role, and then as we get into June, July, once we know who the guys pulling out of the draft are, that's when you go get best player available. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I think you're still trying to fill that 5 spot. You still want to get that guy, that dominant guy who can be a rebounder, rim protector. I don't think we have that perfect guy yet. Jalen Washington, obviously, everybody would love to see him get major minutes and see how he handles that situation. And I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying that they still need some depth in that position. James Brown, again, he's going to get minutes. I think could very well be a rotation type guy, but we'd sure like to make a splash and get somebody in there who's already shown that they can play at that Division I level and shown that they can be efficient and really put up big numbers.
Yeah. And then at what point do you start to think about altering style or scheme or approach? Do you get to that point at the point at which you go after best available and then say, what do we got to do to fit him along with the other guys?
I smile because I laugh because people talk about Hubert's, his style or his system. Hubert's system is whatever he has on the roster that year. So everybody's saying, well, he likes to do this or he likes to do that because of the talent that he's had. When they had RJ and Caleb and Armando, they ran stuff for those 3 guys. They ran specific stuff, and when Caleb left, then the stuff changed, and it's not really his system as much as he's going to take the talent, he's going to find what they do well, and he's going to run their offense, defense accordingly. So I don't really, don't want to get into his system so much. He's going to be able to adjust it and figure it out. They got a great coaching staff. They're going to adjust it to the talent that they have, take advantage of what their strengths are.
And what I love about what you just said there, Coach, is that, this will be year 4 for Hubert Davis. Year 1, 2, and 3, he's always had Armando Bacot. And so this is a brave new world we're looking at where we just don't even know what things are going to look like. And so I think that's a great point that you've made of like, hey, we don't even know yet what is set in stone as Hubert Davis style, right? Like, let me compare it to Mark Pope moving from BYU to Kentucky, where everybody just assumes they're going to continue to bomb away from 3, just like they did in Provo. We don't know that for sure at Kentucky. And so you just got to wait and see. And I think that'll be true here too. So, Coach, let me ask you this. Let's say, you and I both expect Carolina to still look for landing somebody, fully expect that. If they don't, could you see a world in which maybe if Ian Jackson is ready, he slots in at the 3, even though he's more of a 2, you shift Cade Tyson up to the 4, start Jalen Washington and say, look, we might suffer defensively, but we're going to bomb away and try to just beat everyone 90-89. Is that a reality, or is that like last ditch effort even after these things we've talked about tonight?
No, I think it is it could very well be a reality. And you got a head coach who is a great shooter. You got an assistant coach and Jeff Lebo, who's a great shooter. You got Marcus Page, who is a great shooter. Those guys all want to shoot the basketball. That may be even a better scenario where you just play faster than you've ever played, and that would include the defensive end too. And expect maybe more pressure, maybe expect more trapping of ball screens or trapping of the post, and really force people to play at an uncomfortable pace. Uncomfortable paces will allow that transition opportunities where threes will be available, make an extra pass or a penetration and a kick. You could see a system like that where Seth Trimble would really, thrive with his ability to defend, but also his ability to get to the paint. And it could be a lot of fun to watch that game. It could be a lot of frustration too, because you're going to see a lot of 50-49 halftime scores. But I think they're going to find a way that's best to win the game. And whether that's 199 or whether that's 65-60, they're going to find a way to make it ways to win games. And that's what we all want. We just want to win games, and they'll find a way to do that.
Man, and it would certainly take advantage of the biggest wealth you have right now, which is backcourt talent. I mean, there's so much of it, and it could utilize it. Well, it'll be really interesting to see what ends up happening. But let me just one more time remind you all and remind myself of what Coach said as the very first part of this segment. Don't panic and don't settle. What two great phrases that is, that you can wake up every morning and say, no matter what, don't panic, don't settle. Go to bed at night, put your head on the pillow as you go to sleep. Don't panic, don't settle. Hubert Davis has got this, right? There's your mantra. That's what you can repeat to yourself. Now, Coach, we do want to look, though, at a few specific names that are already in conversation and how they might just fit in to this team, the personnel, and what the fit is. We're going to get to those guys in just a second. Right after I tell you about Yahoo Finance. For many years, I've had my own financial spreadsheet trying to track all of my various finances on an Excel sheet. And I got to tell you, it's so much time and energy and effort trying to keep up with it all, add things in. I just remember wishing, I wish there was something out there where it would just do it all for me and I didn't have to keep up with it. And then my financial advisor told me that he does all of that through something that way. And it's called Yahoo Finance. So I gave it a go. I checked it out, tried it, and I loved it. And I've been all in ever since. Let me tell you more about it. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. So whether you're a seasoned investor or you're just looking for some extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. You can securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of all your wealth, all your investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets apart great investors. And that's how Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. With a community of over 90 million users each month, Yahoo Finance's real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. That's the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. One more time, yahoofinance.com. Coach, we've been talking about quite a few various names on the show this week, some that we have heard of that have contact with Carolina, some that we don't yet, is just like, hey, I think Carolina should contact this guy, for example. And there's three that I have heard at least rumored about that Carolina has connected, that people have reached out to mention to me, that people even from the Locked On Tar Heels Discord said, hey, Isaac, would you ask Coach Rob tonight about how you think they would fit, how he thinks they would fit with the rest of the lineup, how he thinks they would impact the team. So, Coach, I just want to ask you about these three different guys, and the first of which is a guy we mentioned earlier on the show that we have a full show about today, but I want to get your take on his fit as well, and that's Coleman Hawkins from Illinois, who, as we know, is currently in the NBA draft. You talked earlier about waiting on guys to get out. This is one that we're waiting on. 6'10", 200 pounds, could be a 4, could be a 5. That's part of the dilemma with him. Coach, give me your thoughts.
He's played a lot of 5. He really is more of a 4 in today's world. He's not the Armando Bacot that we're looking for. but definitely somebody who could play some 5. I actually love him to death. I'm not a big Illinois fan. Obviously, that goes back to 2005. But he's such a pain in the neck. He's the thing I like about him the most. I think he's just super competitive. He's out there and he's fighting for every inch. He's scrapping. He plays super hard. He's got that high motor, but he can also shoot it. He's also a good passer. He can defend. He can maybe not a true shot blocker, but he's active enough that he can alter shots, and he just brings the energy, but he can also shoot the basketball. And I think that dynamic, that whole combination of things makes him very dangerous. He's not Armando. We have to kind of forget about that. Armando's going, he's not going to come back. So we have to think about what the next team's going to look like, not what last year's team looked like. But I love him. I think he would be a great addition to the pieces we have right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a paradigm reset. And that's what you got to do, folks, is we can't just keep thinking Armando or the stereotype of what it's been. You got to find what you can get. And Coach, there's some things you said in there that reminded me of Cormac Ryan, just in terms of competitiveness, of feistiness, of you love him if he's on your team. You probably get really frustrated with him if he's not. And you and I talked a couple weeks ago now. I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, about does Carolina have that guy this year? And I'm not sure that they necessarily do right now. But I think Coleman Hawkins, he might be the guy to bring that.
Yep. He's going to demand a huge NIL package. And I think we know that Carolina has it. It's just a matter of whether Hubert feels like he fits, from a personality, character perspective, all those things that he's looking at. Does he fit that? And I think those are the type of things they need to dig deeper to find out. But I love him to death. I really do. I think he's great.
Okay. Well, we will be watching for that. As reported by Matt Norlander this week, it seems like if he does choose to come back to school, Carolina will at the very least be in the mix for perhaps getting a commitment from Coleman Hawkins if it all lines up with what Coach Davis is looking for, as Coach Rob just said. Next, Coach, we want to move into your state of Tennessee to Vanderbilt with a guy that was coached by a Tar Heel, Jerry Stackhouse, and his name is Ven-Allen Lubin, 6'8", 226, just finished his sophomore year, played his freshman year actually with another Cormac Ryan reference, with Cormac Ryan at Notre Dame, has 2 years of eligibility left. Coach, when you look at him, where does he slot in? How would he impact the team?
He's not the athlete. He's not the above the rim type, flyer. That doesn't mean he can't get up there and get one every once in a while, but he's a strong back to the basket, in and around the basket. He's got good touch, left hand, right hand. He's actually a better offensive rebounder than he probably should be, because he really seeks the basketball. So he gets his hands on a lot of things. He just kind of outworks people in there. Again, how does he fit if we want to play fast? Can he play fast enough? Can he be that guy? I'm not sure. I like him. I think he's solid. I think he gives you a post presence and maybe somebody we can throw the ball into every other possession or something. We talked a lot about throwing the ball to Armando every time down the floor if we can. Don't think he's that type of guy, but I definitely think he can provide some depth at the post if that's the guy we choose.
And as you think about looking for dudes that can shoot, obviously Coleman Hawkins can a little bit, but Lubin, not as much. Just 13 of 39 last year. I mean, that's 33%. That's decent and fine. You'll take it. Just not much volume. Similar to Coleman Hawkins, just right around 1 block a game last year. And so just interesting, it would probably depend, because Coach, quick departure from this conversation. Are you still of the mind that you would be going, there's 3 scholarships left, that you would be going after filling 2 of those?
Yeah, I don't think they need to do all 3, but I definitely think they need more depth maybe than had last year, just because there's more uncertainty about the guys that are coming in. So you might need that extra player. I don't think Hubert's going to get, now I don't have any inside knowledge or anything like that, like I did last year. I mean, he told me last year, I'm only getting 11. I'm not going anymore. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I do think 12 is the number right now.
And so, so I think that's part of the calculus of what we're talking about here as well, folks, is if you get a Ven-Allen Lubin, your other one probably needs to be a guy with a little more shooting prowess, which brings me to our third guy that we want to mention, Dillon Mitchell from Texas. Coach and I are both smiling because Dillon Mitchell just finished his sophomore year, 6'8", 205, power forward, be a guy that you're looking for in terms of athleticism. Seems to be very well liked around the Texas program from what I can gather. Really great defender and rebounder, 2 years of eligibility. But coach, here's the rub. As I said to somebody on Wednesday, he's made fewer career three-pointers than Armando Bacot. Or to put it in some Coach Roy Williams terms, Dillon Mitchell in his college career has made as many three-pointers as Miss Wanda. And that would be the big goose egg. So, Coach, can you see a world, can you reconcile a guy where Carolina probably needs some shooting that has literally not made a three-pointer in college and, in fact, only attempted 8 of them?
Yeah, he's super athletic. He flies around the gym. He brings energy. He reminds me a lot of Jalen Withers. I mean, I think they're very similar players, but Jalen's a better shooter, a better perimeter shooter than he is. So I don't see how they would really need him and Jalen both at the same time. Doesn't mean that they won't. Maybe they see something that we don't know, or have some inside knowledge about what his workouts have been great since whatever. We just don't know. But from what I see right now, I just see him as being too similar as what we already have. So I just don't see him being that one guy we really need.
Okay. I love that. Great insight, Coach. Thank you for that. So obviously we're going to keep talking about this because this is the topic, the du jour, the topic of the day. Honestly, the topic of until these 2 scholarships are secured. Undoubtedly, we're going to continue to talk about them. And so it's a lot of fun to get to do. It's wild to get to do, but such is life right now. And to that point, Coach, every now and again, we need a break from that. So for segment 3, Coach and I want to bring a little breath of fresh air to the show today. Coach was at the Kentucky Derby working it last weekend, so he's going to share some stories, some anecdotes. And there was a conversation in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord this week about people's 3 favorite fast food restaurants. And there was some asking that Coach Rob and I would chime in on that discussion. So we're going to do exactly that. Coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, props, and so much more. Coach, how about some odds for the 2025 National Championship? The Jayhawks still out front. Remember, Carolina's got to go to Fog Allen next year. Woo, that's going to be crazy. That's another reason why you need a big. You want to go into Fog Allen Fieldhouse against Hunter Dickinson without a big? Good luck to you. Kansas, odds plus 1,000. UConn, second at plus 1,100. Duke, plus 1,200. Bama, plus 1,500. And then Carolina, Baylor, Houston, and Gonzaga, all at plus 1,800. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get in on any of that action or more and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Coach, it feels like things have been pretty heavy lately. There was the joy 2 Sundays ago of landing Cade Tyson. There's the joy of getting Seth Trimble back and RJ Davis back. All great news. But it feels like there's just been some disappointment amongst the Carolina fan base as the Tar Heels have just not been able to land these front court guys that they're trying to get. And so I thought it'd be appropriate and important for you and I to bring a little levity to everybody's life today. And would you just regale us with some tales from your time in Kentucky last weekend?
Yeah, the Kentucky Derby was everything that you could imagine. It was one of the most amazing weekends. Long days standing at a post and just working security, but got a tour on Friday morning. Got to go to just about every little aspect of the main area around the paddock where they walk the horses around, trot them around before each race. I didn't know that there were so many races. There's 12, 13 races on Friday and another 13 or 14 on Saturday. I had no idea.
Wow.
People are betting the gates open at 9:00 in the morning. The last race is at 7 or a little bit later. So, but Friday morning, got a chance to go in, found a couple of the secret speakeasies. I didn't even know what a speakeasy was, but it was secret passages to these little hidden bars, and got to go all to different areas. But we had people in the high stakes room. We had them on the red carpet. I was in the turf terrace. My sister was down in the paddock area where the owners, the that own the horses, that's where they were. So they're in these really nice areas with all this just unbelievable food, exotic food. But then they could walk out to their suites and watch the races and then come back in. So she got a chance to see the owners and talk to them. We had people in the Sports Illustrated Club, so they got to see Avery Johnson there. But in my area, it was really cool. I got to see Aaron Rodgers. He was there both days. Hunter Dickinson, who you just talked about, was up there. Jimmy Fallon, Bobby Flay. Got to hold the door for Travis Kelce and Travis Kelce's entourage. Just this huge, I mean, when he walked around, people just followed. He had a trail of about 20 or 30 people everywhere he went. And then I got the really cool thing was holding the door for Winona Judd after she sang the national anthem. Came up to our area to visit with some people. So it was just hanging out with Mike Tirico. I mean, people like that, there was just everywhere you look, there's just people, famous people. But to be able to spend some time with just some of the fans was just cool to be able to talk. And you wear a suit and a tie and you wear some credentials. People think you've been there for a long time. So one guy's like, how long have you been doing this? And I was like, you want my honest answer? He's like, yeah. I said, today's my first day. He goes, oh, you can't tell because, we're told to be there and you have to have a presence and act like you've been there before. So it was just a lot of fun. But the icing on the cake was that they had Martha Stewart say, riders up right before the main race. And two of my guys, two of our girls and my nephew were her security. So when they did that on national TV, you can see my players in the back behind her, and then they walked her out to her seat. But to see my nephew Pete, on the TV with Martha Stewart, it was a pretty surreal moment for us.
That's cool. I hope they got some good recipe tips from her, Coach. Also, people are going to kill me if I don't ask you. You said you held the door for Travis Kelce and his entourage. What about his girlfriend?
She was not there.
Okay.
And I think everybody was anticipating because he announced he was going, so everybody kind of assumed that she would be there too. As part of the security team, we were glad she was not there because it was stuff that we did not have to deal with. But it was unbelievable. Smokey Robinson was there, Kid Rock. We had, because we were all in different areas, we had different people who got to see different, obviously not everybody got the same experience. Jason Worth, who for us, being from Jersey, he played for the Phillies. He owned one of the horses, and my sister got to speak with him. So it was just a really, really unbelievable weekend, a really long weekend, still kind of recovering from the travel, but it was just an awesome experience. Hopefully something that we can do again next year.
That'd be great. I mean, what's crazy about all those names you just listed is it's people from celebrities, yes, but from all different walks of life, from athletics, from music, from TV and movie. I mean, it's wild the types of people that get in on this thing, Coach. It's super cool. So I hope you do it again. I can't wait to hear and see it again. And you can say, yes, this is round 2 for me. I'm a grizzled vet at this point. So that's good stuff. All right, Coach, I love making lists. I have a small group of guys at the college I teach at. We meet together every Thursday. And one of the things we always do is make lists. And so in our Discord, when people were talking about their 3 favorite fast foods, I got excited because I love a good list, Coach. And so I'll let you choose. Do you want me to go first and give my 3? Do you want to go first? Or do you want to bounce back and forth? I'll let you choose.
Why don't you go first? You're not going to affect my answers. My answers are solid. So, but I want to hear yours. Yeah.
Okay. I got to start with the Lord's Holy Chicken, Chick-fil-A. I grew up south of Atlanta, about 5 minutes, actually, my house from where Truett Cathy lives, the founder and CEO, rest in peace, Truett Cathy. And so Hapeville, the original Chick-fil-A, just south of Atlanta, was like 15 minutes from my house. I could get there really quick. So to this day, my family and I go to Chick-fil-A literally multiple times a week. I ate there last night with my kids. So it's just a thing we do. Number 2 on my list, I love a good Zaxby's, Coach. I'm a wings guy. I love to have wings. I get the wings and things because you get some tenders and you get some wings and some fries. The Zax sauce, man, I'm a saucy guy. The Shade family is a saucy family. We'll just say that. And so that's my second one. My third one, I've wrestled with this because anytime you get to the last thing on any list, it's like everything else is ruled out at that point, Coach. And so here's what I'm going to say. You do your list and I'll decide on my third one while you go.
Okay, I have two that would be on my list if they were near me. But we were in Texas for 4 years. Whataburger is one of my favorite, but I can't put it on the list because there's no Whataburgers near me. Raising Cane's is one of my favorites, but there's no Raising Cane anywhere near us, so it can't be on my list. But third on my list is Cookout. And part of the reason Cookout is such a big deal for me is because my guys, being college guys and being cheap and a lot of food, they want to go there often. There's nothing like the first bite of a Cookout. It just tastes so good. Now, by the time I get home, I'm usually paying for it with some indigestion, but I don't care. It's worth it because, I like give me a chocolate banana milkshake from Cookout. That's my go-to. Second is Zaxby's. I love Zaxby's. We spend a lot of time at Zaxby's. The points, again, if you take the team, the points add up real quick. Then all of a sudden I get me a free salad because I've taken the team there a couple times.
I think you mean Zalad.
This is salad, yes, exactly. But trying to eat real healthy, and then you get fried chicken on it with 2 big packets of ranch, and it's not as healthy as it really should be, I guess. But my wife and I also have a tradition for my number one choice, but it is Chick-fil-A. And we have every Saturday morning, get up early, don't shower, don't just put a hat on, put my glasses on, jump in the car. We have breakfast from Chick-fil-A just about every Saturday morning. My daughter Rachel is a manager there, so sometimes now one of my youngest, but she's still grown and living on her own. Sometimes that's the only way we get to see her is by going to Chick-fil-A, and as we're going through the drive-through, just texting her, say, hey, I'm here, and she'll come pop her head out the window and say hello. And but yeah, there's nothing like a good Chick-fil-A sandwich or nuggets. It just depends on what mood I'm in.
That's great. Coach, I love that we had two of the same ones. Here's what's going to be ironic. Literally right now, there's one being built less than a mile from my house that way, and another one 3 miles from my house that way are 2 Whataburgers that are opening next week. And we just were Raising Cane's last summer. I crap you not. Both of those things are true. You got to come to Joplin, Missouri and visit me, and we'll get you to your favorite places.
That's awesome. And I have eaten a meal with you at Chick-fil-A, so I know I've never seen anybody eat more sauce or use more sauces than you do. So you are definitely a sauce family.
I'm not lying at all. And what's crazy is my wife goes even harder than I do on the sauces. It's bonkers.
I don't know if that's possible.
Maggie Shade, the sauciest person I know. Okay. Coach, I keep going round and round on my third one. It's so difficult.
I had a hard time with it too. I had to talk about it a little bit out loud before I could figure out my third.
To process it. Okay. I'm going to have to go. I really love a good burger. Oh, I know. Here's what I'm going to say, because it's my guilty pleasure, and everyone's going to rail me over the coals for this. Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell, Coach. I do not apologize for it. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. And the other problem is it's just like half a mile that way. And so when my wife and I went to Milligan, that's where we would both go for a late night snack. And now it's just continued to be part of our lives. So I'm going to go with Taco Bell for my third one.
They lost me when they got rid of the empanadas.
The caramel apple empanadas, Coach.
Were so good. They were, I mean, I'd go there just to get the empanadas. I mean, that's how good they were. But yeah, we have a Taco Bell right here in town. It's quick and easy, and it's a great way to get full fast. That's for sure.
Coach, in real time, Maggie just texted me and she said, Maggie Shade, sauciest person I know, best compliment ever. She owns it. I'm telling you. And she says, also, I thought your podcast was about sports, not food. What are you guys doing? I love it.
They go hand in hand. Food and sports. I have to go hand in hand.
Listen, she's a Texan. I'm a Georgian. We love our foods. Everything in life revolves around foods and sports and Jesus and family. It can't get any better than that. So, folks, we'd love to know your answers for this. What are your top 3 fast food choices? By the way, I should throw Sonic in as the place to go get that half-price drink all the time. So
there last night. There's that Sonic last night.
Perfect. Can't get it, folks. You got to do it through the app. Happy hour all the time. Okay. If you're not part of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord community, come on, be part of it. The link's in the show notes. It's free to join. We'd love to have you. If you haven't subscribed to the show, you got to do that. Easy to do on both audio and video formats. We'll talk again tomorrow. Can't wait to do it. Reminder that it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. don't panic and don't settle, as Coach said. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.